Yo, my name is Piper. I am 34 years old. I live alone and I'm in a wheelchair. You can kind of see it. I have a neurological disorder called Friedreich's ataxia. Today I wanted to talk about caregiving. But honestly, when I was making the outline of what I would say, I kind of realized it's actually a really broad subject. What area of caregiving am I gonna talk about? And it made me think that, should I make a series? You tell me if you want to know. But very independent. I wanted to live alone forever, which I am right now. I was diagnosed at 15 and I just always kind of saw my future as me. I did not think I would have others helping me, and the thought kind of repulsed me. I did not want anybody breaking their back over me. There are state caregivers. I think they're what makes up most of the population. They work with state agencies and they work in facilities, nursing homes, places like that. It's a little more orderly, but there are also IPs, independent providers. IPs they're a really good option if you have money and want to pay them. They mostly work on their own schedule, but there is some give and take. You form, I think, a better relationship with them. I think it's just a more personal approach, but they have control over their schedule. There's also home caregivers, meaning family members, parents, siblings, really good friends. In that dynamic, it's more comfortable for the client or patient. I think having somebody you know care for you, there isn't as much anxiety, but caregiver burnout is a very, very real thing. I've seen it, and it goes with everyone. And if you're a caregiver, I would say it is very important that you would take care of yourself first and foremost. Clients do need help, but if they can, they need to understand that their caregivers are not robots. They're people, they get sick, they have other obligations in life. I think it would help if everybody was more empathetic towards each other. When I first got a caregiver, the circumstances of that were because my PT at the time was bugging me a lot about getting a caregiver. I could do my own things. It's a struggle, but I felt like if I made the effort, it would be alright. However, I went in the shower once and I ended up falling and I hit my head on the tile. Oh my God. There was blood, but I didn't pass out. I figured out how to get myself back up. I am not sure how we did that, but it was over 10 years ago. That was when my BT decided that I needed caregiving. They came to my home and the caregiver I had worked 5 miles away at this nursing home, and she was helping me get ready for work, and towards the end I had a weird look, a scowl on my face, and she asked me what was wrong, and I was like, I have to be at work in 45 minutes. She said, and are you ready? I was like, yeah. And she was like, well, isn't that a good thing? I'm like, I don't know what to do. I was ready. I had my lunch bag.
I got my lunch packed up, my boots tied tight. I hope I don't get in a fight.
I was sitting by the front door for 45 minutes until my ride got here, and for me it was kind of a wake-up call. I realized that humility can really go a long way. I value independence, but it's okay if you really do need help sometimes. And I don't want to make this an after-school special, but we gotta stick together, people. Come on. Also, I used to work for a caregiving agency. I guess because I was technically a receptionist, but I worked there for a couple years. I knew most of the ins and outs, and I would say I was technically the receptionist, but I had a lot more responsibility, a lot of responsibilities. Actually, I really like working wise when people depend on me for stuff. That's another video, but the point is that I have knowledge on both sides of this caregiving thing. I feel for the caregiver and the client. I am a client, but I worked with caregivers for a long time. And just to settle any questions, no, I do not have caregivers that I worked with. I would not get caregivers from the agency I worked at. That'd be really weird, or really conflict of interest. I guess this whole video sort of started because I was talking to my caregivers one day, and I told them about this employee meeting I had at work once, and they asked all of us, what are some ideas for getting and keeping caregivers? And I said, well, why don't we just give them more money? And they all laughed and they said, okay, Piper, but serious ideas only. That is a serious idea. One of my caregivers though told me it was more if the client could understand, have a little more empathy, it might be better. The dynamic of caregivers is, especially the ones that are kind of state certified or something, they are assigned to clients, but they are not told much in regards of what to expect. A lot of times they don't even know what the disability is, or how it affects them, or they don't really get a lot of backstory. They never know my name. They always call me by my last name. And I say, please call me Piper. And they say, is that why? And because that's my first name. And they say, well, Piper is unique. I really feel like we need more P names in the world. I love people with P names. And tell me what you guys think about this. Imagine getting a wedding invitation. It says, we would be honored if you would join us for Piper and Pedro Pascal's wedding. That's a lot of P's to Piper and Pedro Pascal. That's my dream. If I ever get married, it will be to Pedro Pascal. I love him. But back to the caregivers are kind of going in blind. They don't really know what to expect, but they're expected to enter a home and man, that is their assigned spot now. And the client is basically expected to train and teach them everything from the get-go. This is kind of why we have such a big turnover rate for caregivers. I always had a lot of people come in to our office and they would stay for like the month of paid training and then they would quit before they would ever go to a site and work with a client. It was really frustrating, but it happened all the time. The thing is, these people need help. They desperately need help. And a lot of people are like, oh, no, I don't really respect the environment I'm gonna go in. What I mean is that clients tend to be hygienically challenged. They don't really have people helping them. They're poor like me. So they have to ask the state to help them, please give them healthcare. And they don't often bathe on a normal basis. They live in kind of a smoky environment. There are cigarette butts everywhere. And most of them are hoarders. And hoarders are very difficult to deal with because they really get upset if you move their stuff. If you really touch it at all, they freak out. And their stuff, it means a lot to them, but it just sits there and gets old and moldy and breaks down, and it's a really difficult mental thing to live with. And it's difficult as a caregiver to deal with. These are problems we would all face in the office and the agency I worked for. There's a lot of moldy dishes and food that's like really long expired. These people don't know how to do otherwise. They also, a lot of them have pets that they can't really effectively clean them. There's a lot of urine and feces everywhere. The litter box will be overflowed probably. There are a lot of flea infestations. A lot of caregivers have to deal with angry, aggressive, even racist clients. One of my caregivers who's been with me about 6 years. Oh my god. Yeah, about 6 years. She was telling me about all these cases. There've been a fair few. She is assigned to a client. She goes there and they won't even litter in the house. Oh, she's Bugsy and that's why. But they won't litter in the house. They won't let her touch any of their stuff, any of them. And it's like, I know I'm not too old yet. I'm only 34. But it's just another reason why racism is stupid. Because if you don't want someone of a different race helping you, there is a caregiver shortage. Who are you gonna ask to help you? Who will do the job if you're refusing them? I feel like a lot of times clients need to stop and take a beat and look around and realize who is the one making all the problems here. It goes both ways, but yeah, most of the time it is overall like filthy, it smells bad, and it really turns off caregivers from wanting to work. These people. I'm pretty clean. I don't have any animals. I don't smoke. I shower every other day. I have a lot of cleaning supplies. It is just me. I know I am mentally competent and aware, so that is good for caregivers, I guess. However, caregivers tend not to like me because I have an attitude. I do like to talk about deep stuff with my caregivers. A lot of them actually enjoy intelligent discussion, but it's oddly turning some of them off. They really don't want to socialize on a more intelligent basis. I am kind of cranky in the morning when you wake me up. I do not need to advocate. I can stand up for myself. I think overall we're just not very simpatico.
Whoa, 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 simpatico.
But I think I'm gonna stop here and I'll ask the question, What do you think would be better for caregivers? Should we pay them more, or is there some other aspect you think companies and agencies should be offering? If I continue on with this subject, I think I would like to have a really fun video giving you horror stories, both sides. That would be a really fun video. But if you like what you saw or you want to see more, please like and subscribe. After the next video, I should be posting the much anticipated update video to Sky Claris. I hope I can answer all your questions, and if not, email me. I am wheelsofcarnage@gmail.com. But I will see you guys in the next video. Hopefully, please be there.